So in this little area here, I'm going to plant just some a lettuce mix. At this time of year, again, September, greens are fantastic. I mean, we're just starting to change our diet a little bit, so it's good to get some winter greens in nice and early. So we'll just throw these in and go through the same process. I mean, this compost is fantastic stuff. I mean, what makes compost, if you can actually sort of almost just glue it together like that, it's just got enough moisture in it. It's not quite humus, that really black humus, but it's percolated enough, or it's cooked enough that most of the diseases are out of it, and it's just really ripe for plant usage. So you just throw that into the top 50 to 75 mil again. And I make sure that I integrate it so that we get this lovely combining of the layers. It's very important that you don't create an extra soil layer because it becomes difficult to wet it. So we just get this nice mix of compost and topsoil. Just rake our surface a little bit level. It's not everybody's cup of tea to use just their bare hands, and it's quite good to use gloves, but this is not like a potting mix where we have to use gloves, and I actually quite like getting my hands in the soil. It just gives me a much better feel for what I'm doing. I'm going to put the irrigation back just to give me my lines. Peg those in the ground. Again, with the winter greens, we try to do as little damage to the roots as possible, and this is always difficult. There's a few other ways you can actually get seedlings these days, where you can actually buy them in these little peat pots, and that's actually quite a good system because you actually don't do much root damage. So again, trying to do as little root damage as possible. That's actually a really perfect way to transplant it. I've been able to keep a fair bit of soil around it, and so that should do quite well. I find my hole and I plant it within that sort of area that it's going to get a lovely bit of moisture. So here's my next one. When you actually buy seedlings from the nursery, it is really, you know, if you can, it's important to choose the right plant. Sometimes the plants are way too small and very delicate, and then you will get some problems with some transplant shock. And then on the other end of that, sometimes the plants have been left in these little trays far too long and they're root bound, and really they've already lost their sort of potential, and so they're not going to come away nearly as well as they should. So just be mindful of that when you're selecting your plants. So the last thing we're going to do is just water those in, and again I've put my sea salt in the watering can and I just water that in. I'd like to use the sea salt product or the seaweed product probably for the first 2 to 3 weeks, just once a week though. These veggies will need watering every day if we don't get any natural rain, just for the first 3 to 4 weeks, and I would be applying sea salt and seaweed once a week. It really just helps with their root establishment, and you're going to get a really lovely healthy plant very quickly. So there's a few other things we can plant at this time of year, and green peas are an excellent choice. You can also do snow peas, and we can also plant things like beetroot and carrot at this time of year. It's a little bit early to plant some of our warmer season veggies. Things like tomatoes, corn, pumpkins, zucchini and cucumber, I would wait at least another month, maybe a month and a half. End of October, early November. But let's plant some peas now. Now I've prepared the soil just like I did before, and I've lifted the irrigation, I've put it back down, I've applied my compost. The other thing with peas and snow peas, it's really nice to have a little frame for them to climb up. So while these only get to about 60 or 70 centimetres, it's great if you can just actually tie them to a bamboo structure, because what will happen with a little bit of wind, they can fall over and flop, they can break. They're very soft material, so if they actually fall to the ground, they get insect attack very quickly. The insects love them, the snails just thrive on them. So again, I'm planting these in my irrigation holes, and I'm probably planting them about 300 mil or a foot apart. You can actually plant them quite close, because once they actually get up and running, They'll just all intermingle together and they almost support each other like a green lattice. So I'll just water these in with a little bit of the seaweed and the job's done.